Okay, the Cooldown, episode 18. We have Tobin Ortenblad in the house. I think I go further back with him than Keegan. We'll get into that in a second. Uh, but this will be our last episode before Otter. So we're going to jump right into it. And I think, Tobin, you were kicking us off just before the pod, talking about how your legs feel amazing and then horrible all at once every week.
I was kicking it off with that, mostly because I find there's like a lot of self-doubt when you have such hot and cold like legs. You know, like last week you're just knocking out every big workout feeling amazing, and then this week you're just kind of heavy, like kind of fighting it. Like, yeah, you can do the workouts, but it's not the way it felt last week. And then yeah, I don't know. It's reassuring to hear that you guys think, you get a touch of that too. At least Alexey does. I mean, shit, when I was teammates with Keegan, it just seems like it's always good all the time. But
I was like, I think we got to leave Keegan out of this conversation. He just feels good all the time. But no, I had just said Sunday I finished a workout and I told Sophie we met at a coffee shop for lunch and I was like, I can win the Grand Prix, I can win Otter. That was amazing. And then took a rest day on Monday, came out on Tuesday, did like a tempo effort workout, and I finished and I was like, what am I doing here? Just pack it up right now.
The tempo just feels like threshold. You're just like, I just need to stop. This is so bad.
Yeah. And it's just like I had these like sprints during tempo, so you just watch your heart rate climb the whole time, and you're like, I shouldn't be here right now, but I have to finish this effort.
Yeah, and sometimes it's as simple as like maybe you messed up the fueling, or maybe you missed the hydration, or like, I mean, in Tucson, like last week, it was like there was highs in the hundreds, and one day I messed up, didn't have enough hydration. I'm like, man, I'm suffering. I'm like, oh, I'm like probably 2 liters behind, and it's 100 degrees out right now, and I'm just like, that's why the heart rate is just doing this. So I think I don't know, there's a lot of that. And also, the broken pelvis, I feel like the last few weeks have also had a lot of like ups and downs. Like the body's like was trying to heal that, and I was trying to train through it. So it's like this mix of like all this different stress. So like, I don't know, I feel like I can relate to what Tobin is saying of the body's like, some days you're feeling sick and you're smashing, and some days you're just getting absolutely hammered.
And there's the back and forth of like, yeah, you can do the work, you can absolutely do it, but then, if it feels like that, should you do it, or should you just like take a day or two, chill, and then get back to it when it feels like it did the week before, kind of thing? You know what I mean?
And that's why we have coaches. So they tell you.
I was talking to Dave. I got a call with him after this.
How long have you been with your coach, Tobin?
Oh, man. Like right around the beginning of COVID, so 6-7 years. Yeah, Dave Harward in Salt Lake City. He has Plan 7 endurance coaching's his thing.
Cool.
But yeah, it creeps up quick, like being with someone for so long.
I've never had I've had one coach my whole life.
Really? That's insane.
I think him and I both talk about like there's always times the grass seems greener, right? Where you're like, oh, we're in a valley right now. What do we do? How's this going? But it is really cool when you do talk to someone who knows you so well and you go back to certain things that have worked and certain things that didn't. Like,
totally.
Last year when it was just felt like it was going to shit after Unbound in Leadville, we just went back to what I did in 2019 or 2018 at Schwamigan. Like,
yeah, it is
just fully went back. Yeah.
Yeah, when you were really good, and it's like it seems dumb to just copy something, like copy a 4-week block, but it's actually not kind of dumb at all. Just literally do exactly what you did.
It's like,
and I think even
sometimes there's
placebo.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes there's a time and place to like do something new because you need that new stimulus, but then sometimes a new stimulus is something that you've done so far in the past that you're like, oh, at this point it's going to be new again because I haven't done it in 4 years, so maybe we're just going to go back and do what's old.
Yeah.
And it works.
Well, Tobin, to be really true, the reason we wanted to have you on is we were texting and we were like, Tobin is so good at being a bully on the internet when we need one.
Oh, God, okay.
Not to anyone, just to me, to Keegan, anybody who needs to hear it, you let us know.
Sometimes now that Keegan's not my teammate, it's like I don't have my little big brother to back me up, though, so I'm like, maybe I shouldn't talk as much crap. I don't know. Or it's like I made an Instagram post about a race I won and how I didn't have a ridiculous amount of aero equipment. Then people are like, you have a helmet and an aero bike and this and that. I'm like, well, that's an okay amount of aero equipment because I say so. But if
there is an okay amount, though.
If
There
you
is
have
a
a
line.
TT helmet and socks up to your knees and gloves, that's unacceptable. And these people are pretending like they don't see that. And they're just, and then I just feel like totally duplicitous, and it's not how I meant to be. But anyways, it made me reevaluate that post. But I was in too deep at that point.
But I also say it very endearingly. Like, I think you commented on one of my posts, I think after I won Valley of Tears, and it meant a lot. I was like, oh my God, Tobin came into my life again. So it's a bullying comment, but it's said so nicely that I just felt like it was respectful.
I'm just grasping for relevance now.
Speaking of gloves, did you see? This is just like before we get into it, but after Flanders, they're sitting at the podium with Remco and Matthew and Tade, and they're making fun of him because Remco had gloves on. And he had a sponsor supposedly, but he didn't race with gloves, and he put gloves on for the podium, and they were making so much fun of him.
Oh, interesting. As they should.
Yeah, I was like, if you didn't race with them, man, keep them off.
Yeah, just don't put them on for the podium, unless they're goggles like, Sagan.
I mean, you could put on some fresh gloves, but you didn't race with gloves. It does seem weird to put on gloves. Also, just weird to wear gloves on the podium in general, though.
Yeah, it looked weird. After you saw it, you couldn't unsee it. Okay, let's go back to. I mean, Tobin, just give the people a little bit of who you are, what you've done. I mean, obviously we met way back on the road. You were racing for Cal Giant when I met you. Trying to make your name for yourself in Europe, and yeah.
Tried, yeah. I probably squandered that opportunity, but I guess the short story, started racing in last year in middle school. Always did dirt jumps and downhill prior to that, and then started racing NICA in high school, and then really wanted to be on the local pro team, which was Cal Giant Specialized, which was a road and cross team. Raced a ton of cyclocross, and that's probably how I made a name for myself, or whatever you'd want to say. And then that Cal Giant team also had a road team. That's when, Alexey, you and I met at bigger, like back, it used to be called NRC Racing for people that were around then. National Road Calendar, I think, was like our big national series. And then, cross was, it was really big, but it started fading in like 2018, I think was the first. 18, 19, we started seeing the downward trajectory. COVID really, really hurt cyclocross. And then thankfully Keegan got signed to Santa Cruz in 2021, was it?
Mm-hmm.
Keegan?
21.
And that really breathed a kind of a fresh breath of air into, I'd say, my career. I don't really know what I would have done otherwise. Probably would have kept racing cross, but wouldn't have really had a way to be any contemporary relevance. And then, gravel, I guess we were all kind of there, right? Like, Alexey, you were on the road, which had no future, and I was doing cross, and then Keegan was doing mountain bike, which the mountain biking had a future, but I guess it was like, Blevins kept, stealing your lunch money. So
yeah, it was kind of questionable at best, So what you didn't know is you kind of got catfished into racing gravel. I'm like, hey, we're going to be a mountain bike team. And then you're like, no, we're actually going to race gravel now. So joke's on you.
Exactly. The first year of the hit squad we went on the UCI mountain bike calendar, and we did all those races, and then Grand Prix came along that second year, and just the team took a hard left turn into just the gravel squad, and then the hit squad was 5 years long, and now we're here. So Keegan's at Specialized, I'm still at Santa Cruz, and Alexey, you're in Envy still, if I'm not mistaken.
Lifelong, dude. Till I die.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to go anywhere else. I don't have any years left of. I'd like to keep going for a bit, but that's the short.
No, I mean,
story.
I think I look really fondly on those years because I think all of us in like that 2018 to 2022 range didn't really know what we were getting into. I think every race we took as it came. I mean, I remember racing Belgian Waffle Ride, California. What year was it, Keegan, that you and Russell crashed into each other on the descent?
That was 21. I think that was the first year of the hit squad. So Tobin and I drove there from Winter. I just won nationals at Winter Park, and we drove to Belgian Waffle Ride. Yeah, Russell and I that was my fault. I think I crashed him out on that corner. But yeah, that was One of the
But
one of the first gravel
I
races.
just remember those days as like we were all just out there, right? Nobody's like trying to attack early. There's not really tactics. You're like, who's going to be there at the line and see what happens? Like there wasn't.
It was just attrition, and we all
I don't
just
think there's a. I don't think there's any prize money in the line. Or if there was, it was like a grand.
yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
That was different.
It's pretty funny.
Different days. It was funny. The other day I was thinking I just was planning altitude camp before Unbound, and I was like, huh. I heard that time that Alexey and I did that little camp up in Whiskey before up in
2019,
Prescott before Whiskey. That was like
yeah,
your first mountain bike race.
by far. I mean, I
Yeah.
remember. Yeah, that's where I really questioned my existence as a cyclist. So, but I also that's where I wonder.
Racing
Mountain bikes with me.
Alexey, that was great.
Made you feel good about yourself?
The trail's going left up here, Alexey. So just get your speed under control before the camera shows up.
Yeah, I've gotten like a tiny bit better since then, so it's been good.
I think you've
That's a
gotten
lot.
significantly better on the mountain bike.
I look back at especially Whiskey. I mean, I got to do all those epic rides once, so I did almost every single epic rides once, and I look back on those races, and just like it was probably really good for me, but so just like you suck, deal with it. Every single race.
Hard.
No, but all of them. Whiskey, Grand Junction, I thought I was going to die the whole race. And I mean, I didn't know what I was doing. But, I mean, I think, yeah. So, I think let's dive a little bit into, Tobin, you're obviously still racing. Are you focused on Grand Prix stuff? Are you more mountain bike now?
Mostly
I
focused on motorcycle racing, I think.
I am still
Not
racing,
mistaken.
and I'm super conflicted with. Yeah, I've been racing my dirt bike. I've raced my dirt bike more this year than I have my bike. Not because I'm not focused on bicycle racing. It's just that's all the racing there's been. Kind of there have been some bicycle races too. Don't get me wrong, but. I feel like I have a bit less stress on me because I don't have Keegan as his teammate. It's not stress. It's not like Keegan put stress on me, but there was like this, it was more accountability, and now I feel like I have a little bit less accountability to like kind of go, screw around a little bit. But yeah, I've raced my dirt bike quite a few times. It's insanely fun. I love that it's a skill-based race, not a fitness-based race. Fitness helps, but it's mostly skill. But yeah, I'm still racing my bicycle, but I'm going to race flat bars a bit more this year. I'm still trying to figure out if I'm going to do gravel and mountain bikes at Otter. I'm definitely doing mountain bikes on Saturday. I'm just trying to figure out if I can do both. I remember last year I had thought about doing both, and then after the gravel race on Thursday, I was like, there's no way I'd want to race my mountain bike on Saturday. So I'm trying to remember what I thought last year before
Dude, that gravel race it's no joke. But if you go into it the mindset knowing that you're going to do it and you're already signed up for the mountain bike race, it's going to be a little
That's
different
kind
than
of it. And
Yeah.
if I feel like I'm in it in the gravel race for like a decent result, then yeah, just punch your ticket a little bit. But if it's like if you're in there for like top 30s or something, maybe don't lean in as much to compromise Saturday, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean that gravel race I think is one of the hardest in 80 miles that we have.
The climbing's really steep. Why do you think that?
I just think I think beginning and end of the season is always going to be the most intense. So I think that plays into it a lot. Is like first Grand Prix race, everyone's firing, no one wants to hold anything back. They think it's their whole season, and so you have. I mean, look at last year with Simon Payot going up the road, and then Matthew, like people who we didn't even really know in the Grand Prix, just taking their shot.
Yeah.
And then I think at the end of the day, if you have a climb that is 10% or over, no matter what you do, there's no more other than push the pedals.
Well, it's just the course itself. There's so many little climbs out there, and it's not like the Midwest gravel where you just like hiding in the bunch for hours or you're just like rotating or whatever. The race is kind of like the mountain bike race does. Like it's pretty flat out, There's only a few places where the race would sit, and it's also not very long. Like it's like 4 hours and change, so it's like relatively short for, and like you can sit on the gas pretty hard for 4 hours. So I think it's that length where it's like, it's just flat out.
I
Yeah.
remember last year thinking that, the top, I was impressed at how many big names there were all the way into 40th place. Like there
Yes.
were big, it was really, really, really stacked. And I mean, that's crazy, right? Normally to look into the top 10's always stacked, top 20's usually stacked. And then in the 20s, it starts to lighten up, but it was like the 20s were still big. The 30s were still big. I mean, there were some big names that got 50th there last year.
Yep. I mean, but that course eats you up and spits you out. If you
Sure
crack
does.
on that course, if you can't like pedal, I mean, I think I told Keegan this after at the first cool down ever we did. That second lap, I kind of pushed the pace, and I think I was doing like 400 or some, and like we had 15 guys at the top. The last lap when Keegan blew me up and Matt up, none of us were doing 400 watts. We were barely hanging on. It's just like the attrition rate of everything. That whole race is. It's just one lap to the next, and if you go completely kaboom, it's like minutes because guys can catch up so fast.
Yeah, they can.
But
And the group I was in, we were catching just, broken souls all day. So you can also, if you crack, here's the thing, guys, you want to crack early. Take it from me. Crack early, and then you catch all the broken souls all day. And you can let yourself
reaper.
back into the reaper. You
Yeah.
just start reaping and catching souls all the way back into a, respectable result. You're not going to win the race that way, but
just going to clip that out for every young athlete. Get dropped quick, and then just start picking people up.
blow up quick, find some composure, and then, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if you have any questions, Keegan. I have another. It's a little big one, but you have anything for
Send it.
Tobin?
Send
Okay.
it. Yeah.
Tobin, I've always appreciated you because of what you do behind the scenes. I think we're probably more similar than Keegan and I at times because he doesn't know what happens to make the train tick. And I say that endearingly, Keegan. But
I just show up
when you look
told to the
when you look at
podcast.
the yeah, Tobin, when you look at the Grand Prix from the outside, what is good, valuable about it, and what do you think needs changing still? Right? And I think this isn't against anybody. Like I think we can all say Lifetime's been very valuable to our sport, but you have a pretty good view on it.
Yeah, I'm not in Grand Prix this year, or I was only in it 1 year, but I've been around it for the every year. That's a good question. I mean, without a doubt, it's done huge things for the sport. It's thrown a bunch of money into it. It's given everyone a reason to show up and race to have a career, right? If there's money and a reason to do it, and sponsors are super keen to keep athletes competing in the Grand Prix, that's super good for our sport. Sometimes I do feel like the atmosphere at the events is a bit sterile compared to these one-off races we do. I couldn't really put a finger on it, but I think people that have been to other gravel races can tell. It's so much hype, and there's so many people, and there's so much stuff that somehow it feels so isolating. It's such a big thing, and there's so much stress and pressure that no one turns off. It's always fully on. There's no relaxation. There's no extra time at the venue. It's all about doing the most for your own performance. And then it's not like everyone's hanging out at the finish line after. It's like you crack, then you go back to the house. Or the racing is so big and long that you just go back to the house, and the community their vibe is not necessarily always there. I don't know how you change that necessarily, and I am a little bummed to see how gravel centric it has gotten. The first year it seemed like there was kind of a blend of everything, but it has gotten mostly gravel, which is that's just how the the industry has gone lately. It's the only thing that seems to be selling and making money for anyone, so I can't blame them for that. But at the same time, I feel like Lifetime has the money and resources to kind of give life to some more mountain biking style stuff. If they do it, you guys will go, I would go. consumers, amateurs will go to these races. Like Schwalmegen, for example, granted it's like a heritage legacy event and there's already a ton of people there, but that's a humongous event and it's a mountain bike race of sorts. Obviously it's a ton of grass.
Oh, yeah.
But
hardtails, man. Hardtails and 36 tooth chain rings.
I forgot about that. And aero wheels. So, I don't know. I guess that would be my only, a few of my pluses and minuses of it all.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, I also feel like we're doing, and when I say we, mostly you guys, but from an inside loop outsider, it is the same thing every single year, being everyone shows up to the race a week early now. Everyone has the professional resources to show up to the race early, get to the Saturday's race on Monday, pre-ride. Everyone has a photographer. Everyone posts a photo on Wednesday of course recon with their clique of people they ride with. And I'm not saying I don't do this. It's just how it is. And then on Friday, everyone posts a bike check of the same bike we've seen for the last 4 races. And then on Saturday, one person talks about how they won the race, and the rest of them talk about how, the freaking effort doesn't reflect the result. And then
I don't say that.
It's just, I mean,
you're spot on.
I'm not guilty of doing this, but it's so goddamn formulaic now that I don't find any inspiration in that. Granted, I'm not the one needing inspiration necessarily, but like it is the same thing every week, and it's the same race.
I mean, I guess.
And what do we do?
Like, kind of playing devil's advocate here. Every other sport that you follow is that way. I mean, think of Supercross, MotoGP, like Formula One.
Yeah, it is.
The enduro races, everything. Every year, it's exactly the same schedule. They go to the same races. They do the same thing. They have time qualifying, and they do the heats. They do the mains. And in some ways, I do think having the same thing over and over again is good because people look forward to having these same events. I think you're right in the sense that like things could change a little in the way that like maybe we have Sea Otter mountain bike race back and like we like incorporate more because they call it an off-road series, but in the end it's just a gravel series. It's not an off-road series. There's one mountain bike race,
and that's fine. It's fine.
And that's fine. But I think that I think consistency is good in a way. I think like having the same series. I do think the racing itself could change to be like more dynamic and more exciting, whether that's like more circuit races, shorter courses, shorter racing to make it like easier to, broadcast, whatever. I think that's like, because I think they're still kind of dabbling in this middle ground of like, they want to have the spirit of gravel and they want to have like this fun adventure kind of racing thing, but they also want to have the high performance, which is like the MotoGP and the Supercross and the road racing and, World Cup cross country mountain bike racing. It's like, that's what they're trying to emulate, but they're still trying to hold on to this like spirit of gravel shit that's just like dragging them down. And it's like that's where this weird dynamic is of like, is it professional or is it like not? And
that's a good point. Everything you just said actually that is a good point, because the other stuff we watch it's the same thing, but maybe I'm too used to it.
But I think both of you guys just hit on what Tobin said, and then Keegan hit on with the spirit of gravel is dead, because it is, in my opinion. It's a question of whether we want community or whether we want fans, because they can be one and the same, but they're also different people on different days.
They can be both. The racing needs to be separate in a way.
Yes, and I think that leads into whole other conversations. But at some point, if you want to become, Tobin, I've told Keegan this, but someone recently told me they were like, gravel cycling should be most like tennis, F1, skiing, more than our other disciplines of the sport, because it's so character based. And so, you look at F1, you look at motocross, it's based upon what these guys are doing, these clips after the race, and who they are and their personality, as opposed to them just winning the race, right? Companies are attracted to who they are. And so I liked that a lot, because I think we can't, it's slowly dying, but the amount of people that ask me oh, well, how does gravel compare to the road? It doesn't. It doesn't at all. And that's not a negative, but there's teams on the road. They know the whole course. They have cars behind them. There's no chance of yes, you can crash out in the finish, but you can almost always get a wheel. There's no real mechanicals. Gravel, you're in it by yourself. You learn very hard and very quickly what it takes to win. right?
Yeah.
And I think those two things of like, where does the line of the spirit of gravel, quote unquote, end? And where does racing begin? Because I'm the first person that I think we got, like, you guys will all make fun of me, right? I do way too much shit in the community that I think is important to what I do, but it is alongside racing, and they can both coexist, but not always on the same day of racing.
Right.
And
No, I think it's a good way to put it.
Yeah, and I do agree. People are sponsoring characters and personality a bit too, which I also think is a good thing. But then at the same time, there's a lot of like character and personality in this. And I'm like, I just don't know why we're highlighting that person. It doesn't make our sport look good. Like it's.
But that's a choice of the companies, right? You'll never change. You'll never change that. Like, totally. That's. I mean, and this is nothing against Payson, but why is the only Red Bull helmet on Payson in gravel?
Yeah.
Right. None of us can answer that question. I would really want to know, just from Red Bull's perspective, is gravel not a professional sport? Mm-hmm. You know. You look at mountain biking, there's more Red Bull helmets than I've ever seen in my life. And again, this isn't against Payson. It's a question of why Red Bull doesn't see our sport as important enough to have multiple, at least a female.
Yeah.
I guess Kate did Leadville last year, but
that is interesting, because it's almost like it's the way it started. It started as this like kind of like not like World Cup or Road Start. It was like kind of backyard janky races that have been professionalized, but people still see it as like this kind of hybrid discipline that you do when you're washed up pro and you're retired. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I mean, look at us. We didn't succeed at cross. We didn't succeed at road, and we didn't succeed at mountain bike. I mean, we're almost the perfect little trio here, right?
Yeah.
Or like our sports went away enough, and there was a way to continue being a professional in gravel, and it's like, I don't know, as much as that hurts to say.
Well, now it's its own thing. Like it's
its own thing.
Like there's young athletes out there who aspire to be gravel racers, which is crazy because that just simply didn't exist for us.
It's crazy, but it's not, right? Because I think in the same, like, I mean, we don't need to say actual numbers, but I'm making more than double I did on my Neo Pro salary in the World Tour.
Totally,
like,
everyone's making more than they ever.
That's my point. They're making a lot of money, and that when we grew up, Tobin, that didn't exist. Bissell Pro Cycling, UHC weren't making a living.
Yeah.
The best rider on that team might have been making $35,000. So it's hard because I say, like, yes, in hindsight, when I came into the sport, did I think I was starting a professional sport? No. But I also am still here because it is a professional sport, not because it isn't. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally.
Like, I'm still here because I'm like, wow, this is a living, and there's a pathway to actually have U.S. racers stay racing in the U.S., right? Like right now, I think that's the biggest confusion we have between Lifetime and USA Cycling and the UCI is there's no actual cohesion.
No,
you should be, there has to be some way for someone to go from NICA and then 3 different pathways, right? Because if you're going to become a World Cup racer, you got to go one direction right out of high school. Yep. And if you're going to, even before high school, to be honest, and if you're going to go to gravel, there's a whole different direction. And so I think sometimes, go ahead.
Well, I've said this before, like you have to also show parents, that there's a legitimate pathway to success, because why is a mom and dad going to say, pursue cycling, skip college and go all in, right? That's crazy, because there's, out of all the kids that are trying to do this, I mean, there are very, 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 very few who make it. Like, I guess Kobe Freeburn, I always mix up his last name. He's one of the younger guys that is kind of making it, it seems. And then you have other guys like, I don't know, I'm not trying to like throw shade. I'm not throwing shade here, but like Leo Gullikson, for example, really good racer, kind of like, he's putting it together, but it's not like it's quite there. It seems like, how do those guys?
It's hard I think getting all the puzzles in this gravel, like you said, it's like personality and results based. So it's almost like there's a path, but it's like very meandering and not very clear as to like which races to chase, and then like how much to focus on the actual racing versus like the content side. And like I think that's what a lot of athletes struggle with, is like find the balance between the content, the racing and the training, and like what whereas like they see us do it, and I think it's like we've just found our own kind of way to do it. Alexey has his way, I've got my way, but in the end, like we do have like in Tobin, that you have your way, and they're all very different, but like it all works for us because we found the balance between the results and the social media side, and like it's not really something I feel like you can teach, and there's not like a clear path. You almost have to like learn for yourself, unless you're just an absolute animal and you can go win a variety of these races, but you still have to have personality. And also, if you're that good and you're beating the all of us at these races, you're probably gonna end up racing on the road anyway. Like you're gonna get swooped up by a road team. That's where like
If you're young enough.
if you're young, yeah, if you're 20 years old and you're racing with us at the front of Leadville, you're probably gonna get picked up by a road team.
Yeah, but I think that is on us a little bit, like to help just create this pathway before we all leave the sport, because I think that's the beauty of this is we actually get to have a part in building gravel, right? None of us in the sports we were in had any part of building anything, right? We weren't Nino, we weren't at the front of these races, we weren't Tade, and I think that's what's special. But I also think in the same vein of like, it's a question of how much money you're making is how much it's worth the content you're creating and what you're doing, right? Because I hear so many guys say, I just want to be a bike racer. That's great. Do you know how many media days F1 drivers have? 60 to 85. 60 to 85 media days. So where is it if you make $1 million, it's worth it to you? And that's the question that I ask people, that I'm like, of course, I think there's a lot of asks from sponsors right now that seem to go without compensation. And that's really tough, and you got to find a line for yourself and training for the races. But also, if we want the sport to grow, it's based upon getting it out and amplifying it beyond the people at the race. And that's
Right.
There's no easy answer to that. But like, all these sports we're talking about that are a success are not a success because of just their sport.
Totally. And Grand Prix, circling back, has done a good job at that for us bike racers and for our sport. Say what you will here and there about it, you cannot deny they've
100%.
done a great job.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've given us all the platform to actually do it,
Yeah.
Someone will sign the first big non-endemic company again, a Coors, a Ford. That will be sick. So, I only had one little story I wanted to tell that kind of just encompasses Tobin and the great teammate he was. But we can. I remember talking to you before Leadville, and Keegan was going for the record, and you put, was it a 38 tooth chainring on just to leave Keegan out?
God.
Reluctant.
knowing that you were just going to get shelled on the first climb and struggle the rest of the day.
Me do it. Yeah, dude.
Hey, he got the record.
Terrible. It's a terrible. Yeah, but here's the thing about that whole Leadville. I mean, most people know the Leadville lead out or whatever. Like, sure, I might have helped in that record in a small way. I did help, right? But like, it's not like Keegan beat the record by like 30 seconds or a minute, in which case I could be like, that's all me. It was like you smoked it. So in hindsight, you didn't even need my help, and I could have raced, a 32 chainring like an adult and had a better day. But
Yeah, but you know what it was? Is like I was like, well, Tobin just completely destroyed his entire chance at any sort of result in this race to give me maybe 30 seconds. So now I have to fully empty the tank now to make sure I get this record and make sure I get it by a lot, because like his race is done. So
it's so done. Like,
that was like, it's more of a motivation thing, It's like a
sure. Going up Columbine for like a 173-pound guy like me who doesn't do any acclimation, like I can barely get up that climb. Like I'm almost falling over. In the meanwhile, there's people coming down head on with me, and I can barely get out of their way.
Yeah.
This is the catchiest thing.
I just love you, Tobin, because you equalize everything and make it so relatable. Like, I cannot tell you how many people I'm like, hey, you don't need to run a 38 tooth chainring. You don't. You're finishing in 7.5 hours. It is not there's the same as drop bars, right? Keegan and I talked about this for a long time, but like, unless you're trying to go sub 6.5 and arguably even just sub 6:15, drop bars aren't the difference maker here.
No. Got a lot more you can deal with.
But I think it's just all the news, like it's velo news and cycling news and the bullshit that's posted constantly that just kills me. Like the aero data, and I'm like, yeah, okay, if, that would be great.
God, thank you so much for saying that, Alexey. I am just like constantly disillusioned with our sport. Like, I don't say I'm not burnt out on it, but I hate seeing all this stupid hype over like just this dumb stuff. Like, you don't need to wear all this stupid, silly aero gear.
And simply train harder.
Just train harder. Go out there.
What's your tattoo say? Keegan's favorite tattoo.
I don't know. Nobody cares. Work harder. Right here from Cam Hanes, you know? But I think that's like, it's such a simple thing. I think that everyone's fighting over the marginal gains, and there's all these big gains that they haven't even grabbed onto yet, like nutrition, consistency, sleep. And I mean, we could beat this horse all day long, but it's
no, but I do.
Doing, and they want to be like Keegan, and you
Keegan is part of the problem.
Bike with aero fairings on your fork. Like, I've said it for years. You're the problem, Keegan.
Yeah, but I'm trying to beat Alexey, you know?
No.
You're at the very pointiest edge, so yeah, if that gives you, 1 watt, of course that makes a difference. Like, if I was in your shoes, I would do it too. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying.
Hey, we did get drop bars banned, though. It is a
yes, that was good, and Keegan was part of that. I will give him a lot of credit for that. Keegan was a big
drove that home.
I mean, but I think I love so much when you see different things like Vanderpool's bike at Flanders, right? 172.5 cranks, 54.40, fucking normal chain rings, like straight up and down what you can buy on Canyon's website.
His
44 bars.
Pretty wide too. How wide?
They're 44.
Dude, I love that.
So I love that, and I think we just need to talk about that more because, and this is, it's not, we all have our days, things play out differently, right? But at the end of the day, unless you're winning like Keegan does consistently, and I would argue, Keegan, you are maybe the only one who can do that, and even you, it's not every day. Like, when I won Big Sugar, it was, the race played out into my hands. I wasn't on aero wheels. I played into all the things that fit for me on that day. Right, Schwalmingen the same. It wasn't that was the best bike for everybody, and I think that's when I see all these guys that are putting their number where they can't even get their bottle out on the side of their frame. That isn't helpful.
That's not.
It's not it. It just isn't, and I get that that's I don't know. It's just there has to be a line. Where is the line? Can we start pointing? And making fun of
people. That's what we need Tobin. This all comes back to having him on the podcast. We need Tobin to start bullying these athletes more. Like, you see, you
I'll join in.
The aero socks to your knees, bullied.
That's against the rules. We need to make some rules here.
We need to have. We can make our own rules, but this is like people love to hate on the UCI, but like they have the sock rule, they have the no aero bars, they have some pretty good rules. And I know
cycling looks good the way they have it.
That's what we need. We can't have like triathletes racing. No offense to triathletes, but this is a different sport. We can't look this way.
And it's like I'm so acutely aware of I love our sport, but it's kind of nerdy, and I'm like, let's just make this a little more let's make it so when some high school kid sees it, he's not going to get made fun of for wanting to go be a bike racer.
That should be cool.
Seriously,
let's make it cool, not so so much dork.
I think it's the whole industry though, and also just beyond. It's where we live in sport right now. Is everyone's so rushed to do their job, and sometimes that plays in. I don't know. That's for those who are listening. That's one of the reasons Keegan and I wanted to start this podcast is that we wanted true media from the field, from riders, from athletes, talking about what happened during the race and what actually was real. Valley of Tears happened. I saw 4 articles. I was never interviewed. I don't think Sophia was ever interviewed. They're getting it off Instagram posts. That's not media.
Or just what
that's
they
not
see.
Real.
Or it might be, you've been misquoted. I've been misquoted from gravel racing. What if we just do it ourselves,
But yeah, and but you read the article and you're like, but that's not what happened.
Yeah.
I didn't so it's tough, but I think there has to be a time and a place where you do mock or question what's happening because it's so silly. Yeah. And we're near it.
And also too, this is circling back to just things can be simple. You can run the bike you showed up with, you can ride the tires you showed up with, and you can just sign up and do the race and be just fine. It's almost like you're given all this stimulus and info and numbers and this and that. It makes you think that you got to be testing every single tire and every rim choice and this and that. And it's just like, it's not realistic for people to do that. And it's also not necessarily important to do that. Again, unless you were like the 1% pointy end of the race, then it can make a difference. Like Keegan, I know you're super into testing all that. And I benefited as your teammate for 5 years because I don't want to do that. I don't care to do it. So I'm just like, you know what, Keegan will do it and then he'll tell me what I should run. And I'm so thankful for that because I would never do it. And I've learned so much from you about that, nutrition, tires, this, that, and the other, where now it's like, you know, I can just copy your homework basically.
Like little sugar tires that don't work.
I will ask you. Yeah.
Every now and then I do miss. There's been some big misses, but you know, they say you gotta fuck around and find out sometimes. So
yeah, little sugar.
Sometimes you find out.
Forgot about that.
True teammate, Tobin. True teammate. You went out on top, dude. Yeah, I mean, I think I'll end this conversation saying that one of the things I also think is important for young athletes, and I guess I'll pose that question to you, Tobin, because I feel like you do a lot in your area, is I think it's okay for athletes to know that it's okay to let people know you're sponsored, right? That you are a paid athlete for that company. I think that's what creates actually true brand partnerships that work, right? Nobody questions that Keegan works for Specialized. He made a choice because he believes they support him the best over these next 3 years, right? Santa Cruz was the best for him the past 4 years. And so I think sometimes people steer away from that, or they want to pretend, oh, there we go, see? We're all getting old is what I'm hearing.
Mm-hmm.
But I think one of the things that people talk about inorganic or inauthentic, that's just you as the athlete to me, right? If you are constantly looking for where you think the grass is greener, it's going to feel like that and look like that. But if you actually believe in what you're doing, that's the whole sport's going to grow around you, and you're going to see value from the people that trust you trying the things you're using, right? And that's where this tire testing and all this stuff comes in, is when you get to that point, that's for you to do, and you can enjoy that. But it's not like Keegan's doing it and then telling everybody. It's for him. You know, he knows what he wants to win the race. So you have any advice for the young kids, Tobin? Long-winded?
Man, I don't know.
In this sport that we just ragged on for the last 10 minutes?
No, I don't think I think that was productive. I mean,
constructive criticism. You know,
I'm always here to talk shit on, you know, certain things of our sport. But I think it's like you said, you know, go out there. The biggest thing that helped me when I was younger is I was never the best or fastest. That's, you know, there was years on cyclocross where, I was the best and the fastest. But that was fleeting. Making an effort to meet people, shake hands, make introductions.
Yes.
Don't be a dick. Meet people. You know, that just like go to the race hard, and then, you know, networking sounds weird, but you know,
do a
little bit of networking. Go out and meet some people. Learn how to socialize, or that's just, you know, an ability some people have and don't have.
What do you do? Do you put a beer in your hand and you walk around and talk to people?
Look like a lifestyle athlete. If you can have a beer in your hand at 18 years old and you come over and shake my hand, I might sponsor you. Just kidding. Maybe don't put that in the podcast.
Sorry. Just like that.
You're in.
No.
Long story short, you make an effort to go out and meet people, race hard, don't be a dick.
Love it. Anything else, Keegan?
There we go. No, I mean, I think you guys pretty much summed that up. I mean, this whole, I guess, and then, you know, like you said, believe in yourself and work hard. Don't be a dick. Network sometimes. Just do what you want to do. Like, find your own path. Don't like chase, you know, because a lot of us got here with many different paths. Like, you have years from the road, from mountain bike racing. You have, like, you know, athletes like Payson who started racing gravel like 3 years before a lot of us did. So there's, like, you know, there's more than one way to skin a cat, and you can get to be doing this and be a professional one way or another if you're, like, determined enough and, like, you know, down to hustle a bit and find a way to make it happen. Whether that's training hard, winning races, like, you got to do all of it, I think, in order to make it happen. You know, you gotta hustle on the training side and the social media side and the meeting people side, and it doesn't just come out of thin air. You know, it's like a lot of people see, they're like, oh, like, you know, you're sponsored, how'd you become a pro? And you're like, well, just did it for a long, long time and
Yeah.
made absolutely no money for a long time.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
just have to put your head down and
Yeah. Do we want
grind.
to touch
That's
on
really
that?
what it is.
My first contract with BMC was 15 grand. Keegan, what do you make on Cannondale?
12.
Yeah.
Dude, I never got paid till Santa Cruz, and that was 12.
Yeah.
First year.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think that's the honest truth, right? I tell people all the time is like my first contract with Envy was nothing to look at, and now they're my biggest partner, right? And they'll be with me till I stop racing, and I didn't see that when I started, right? You can't just pick and choose. You think Trek or Specialized or Giant are the best for you at a given time. It might be a smaller brand.
And I think there's a lot to say about, especially being younger and seeing what bigger athletes do. Like, there's a lot to be said about being loyal to your sponsors. It is a two-way street. You know, maybe someone offers you an extra $1,000 and you're just like, or two or three or 4,000, whatever
5.
that number might be, 5. Like, what is the benefit there besides money? You know, it's new people. I think sticking with sponsors that have your back and work well, like that's worked really well for me in Santa Cruz, and I'm not gonna go shop a bike brand. I'll retire on that company whenever I do, and I don't know.
Yep, pretty
Seeing
special.
people with long-term partnerships, I think, speaks volumes of the partnership, right?
Yep. Yeah, things change and things happen, but that is, that's the reality. I've always said multiple times in the last 4 years, I've been the most underpaid and most overpaid athlete in the Grand Prix.
Exactly.
How
And
it
like
goes.
Keegan, you just switched, obviously you just switched bike companies, but that was like another thing too, where it's like there's the money and the money's the money, but at the same time it's like Santa Cruz as a brand was like, wow, we're so heavily invested in gravel, like how did we get here? This was never like our intention. Like we're kind of looking to start marketing the ethos of our company a little bit different than like this mega performance gravel. So sometimes there is a good time to shake hands and say thanks and look at
And I want to say, as Keegan's friends, you can attest to this, Tobin. Like there was no burned bridges on the way out, right? It worked.
0.
It was a valuable valuable partnership on both sides, which I think is really special.
It is,
right.
Yeah, and you don't see that a ton. So
No.
it's just time and a place. But the loyalty goes a long way. Never discount it.
Okay, we're gonna finish off. Keegan, you're old and washed up. You just got your white rim record taken. What do you think about that?
Man,
Dude, pissed me off.
Monster Hydro days, dude. Monster Hydro days.
gonna have to go. I am gonna have to go back, man. I don't know when I'll do it, but that's like
On
I.
flat bar.
It was
what's funny
close.
is I almost went last year because I was like, man, like there's a lot of meat left on that bone, and someone's gonna go take it soon. And I just was like, nah, I'll wait till someone will get it, then I'll motivate me to go do it. And sure enough, Cam went and did it. So I mean, I'm glad he went to just do it because first of all, it's a sick area, it's a cool place, and it's like I'm glad kind of keeping the FKTs alive, because they've kind of I mean, COVID is what really started the whole thing, and like they've kind of died, and they're kind of fun in a nasty, really horrible way.
And again, I liked it. The first thing I saw was Villeneuve's article, Cam smashes record. And I'm like, oh, did he beat it by like 30 minutes? No.
Dude, it's 3 or 4 minutes.
And I was
or
like, you
something.
can't say smashes record over a 6-hour event, 5.5, I was just
drop
like,
bars, which are banned, by the way, Cam. What are you doing, man?
Drop bars. I hated to see the drop bars. It kind of ruined my day to start it seeing that on Instagram.
I know. I thought
No
thought
shade
Cam
on
would.
Cam.
He's a mountain biker. He knows. He should know better.
A little shade, Cam.
Just a
seen you
little.
win Downeyville on flat bars, so just saying. Hey, if you want to go out, I'll meet you out there. I won't do it again, but I'll meet you out there.
You don't want to go the other direction and meet halfway again.
it won't meet halfway.
We did actually meet halfway. That was actually a small tangent, but it was actually pretty. I was actually kind of shaken because we got the 50-mile mark and Tobin was like slightly ahead of me. And I'm like, damn, Tobin is on an absolute heater, and we didn't like really account for how much easier and faster that half was. And then Tobin just absolutely fell apart. The guy was down by the river, like filling up his bottles with Jardia water.
Almost had to drink out of the river. Yeah, Keegan
We were worried for him. We almost went to go find him, and then he's like came rolling in. But
you went counterclockwise and I went clockwise, and I was like mile 48, 47. I was like, I might see Keegan soon. Then mile 49, or 48. I was like, then mile 49. Then I hit mile 50, and I still hadn't seen Keegan. I was like, damn, I'm ahead of Keegan. Like,
Tobin's getting the record today.
I'm actually up on Keegan's time. And then, yeah, like pass you at like mile, 50 and a half, which means I probably had a minute and a half on you time-wise. And
Something
then
like
it just
that.
starts getting it turns into like a sawtooth profile. And there's all these super short, sharp climbs, and then a big climb out of the valley. And I've not cracked that hard in a long, long, long time. Top 3 cracks for sure.
You'd love to hear it.
Beat the record, and I didn't. There actually was a Strava time for my direction, and I started, like I had gone across the line and I stopped, and then I started. So I actually didn't even get the record, even though theoretically I should have. Not that this matters.
Dude, you got to go back then. You should go back and go the opposite direction.
I'll bring my dirt bike when we go back.
Awesome. Well, thanks everybody. This was brought to you, as the whole season, by Road ID. Pretty exciting. Keeps us safe. And Tobin, see you in Monterey.
We'll
I'll
see
be
you.
back anytime you guys want. See you guys in Monterey.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.